Hi, this is Dave again with Media Digitronics. In this video, I'm going to go into the basics of how you go about doing static page layouts. As with any other project in ScrapPage, you start a new page, and a color background is always a good way to start. Now, the first thing you have to decide is, are you going to print these things as squares, pictures? 12 by 12s is pretty standard, or regularly used format. Are you going to make them 8 by 10s that you can slip into the sleeve of a album, or are you going to use some other format? 8 by 11 is one that we use quite frequently at our house, and that's because it's one of the standards for Snapfish. Anyway, I'm going to open it and use it as an 8 by 11. So there. Now again, so I chose a color for the background. I didn't worry much about it because you can change it later if you want to. But given that we now have the background and we're ready to start populating it with content, I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab some pictures. Now down here I have some pictures of this gentleman when he was younger, and I'm going to pick his sports pictures. Let's see, I think there's one more of them here someplace. Yeah, there's the baseball one. Okay. All right, so they're all going to come in. Now you can see that the 4 pictures just loaded into ScrapPage like that pretty quickly. You can load as many as 10 at a time, but I'm going to work with these 4 right now. So how do you do things with pictures in ScrapPage? Well, the first thing you do is you just select one, and when you do, you can mouse down and move it around anywhere you want. Here's another one. We'll mouse down on that one, move it around anywhere we want. We'll move this one down here, and we'll move this one over here. All right, so you can see that it works very much like if these pictures, these photos rather, were lying on your kitchen table, and you were just going to move them around with your finger, the mouse being your finger. The other thing you can do, and well, you can't do on your kitchen table, but you can do digitally, and that is you can change the size of them. So these little circles on the end, they're called grow handles. And what you do is you just drag on them. You click and drag, and you can change this picture size to anything you want it to be, just like that. The other thing to notice is that these blue circles, or quarter circles on either end, little arrows, if you grab one of them and drag and click, or click and drag rather, you see that it rotates the picture around anything you want. So now you can grow it up in size, and you can rotate it to any place you want and put it anywhere you want. All right, let's put that back to a rotation of 0, and we'll make it a little bit smaller again. Now the other thing that's important to note is that these things come in and they are kind of in a stack. That is, the football photo is the highest, the basketball photo is the lowest. They're stacked on top of each other. That is indicated over here on the right hand side in something I call the layer stack. And over here you can see in the panel over here that we've got the basketball player, which is currently highlighted by this green arrow that indicates which one is highlighted at the time, is on the bottom and on up to the top where the football player lives. Now if we wanted to change that, all you have to do is you go up here where this double arrow is, and I can move that basketball player all the way to the top. So if I click him, he goes to the top of the stack, and now he's on top of every one of the other pictures. Let's put him back to the bottom now, okay? So he's back there. Now, what if I wanted to just move one up just a little bit? Well, let's picture this one here where he's in his leather jacket, and I want to put him on top of the baseball player, because right now the baseball player is on top of him. But if I select him and I move him up just one, then he goes on top of the baseball player. He's also on top of the basketball player, but he's not on top of the football player. Okay, so that's how you move things around in their order, in the stack order. And it's good because sometimes you want pictures lying, for instance, something like this, where they would be not necessarily all separated, that there is some overlap, and that's kind of maybe the effect that you're looking for. Or you're going to put a fancy frame around one of them, or any other kind of reason that you might want to have the stack order change from the way they came in. Now, having done that, what else can we do? Well, to jazz things up a little bit, let's put a frame around this guy here. Now you can see as I'm increasing the size of this frame, there's a little gray outline that's showing around the picture. Now you can make that frame be any color you want. For instance, I can make it be white if I wanted it to be white, or I could make it be black if I wanted it to be black, or anything in between. So let's pick something in between. Let's pick something like this color here. Now, once I've got that color, I can then say, well, all right, what else could I do? I could apply that same color to everything, or I could make this a little bit fancier than it already is. Let's go in here and give it a texture. And I'm going to give it this barnwood texture, and you'll see what this looks like when I'm done. So there it is. Now you can see I've pretty much placed a wood frame around the picture. The other thing that's kind of interesting to do is if you want all of these pictures to have this particular arrangement, first off, let's give it a shadow. Shadows are good because that makes it kind of stand off the page a little bit. It gives a little depth to the layout. All right, so I just put a shadow on the guy right here. Now, if I want to go ahead and apply that same look or style to everything, I'll just go ahead and tell it, hey, match it. Go over here and tell it to match it, and go here and tell it to match it. All right, so now all four of the pictures have the same look and feel with the wooden border and the shadow. So now let's arrange these things a little bit. I'm going to put this one here. I think I'm going to put this one over here. I'll put this guy down here and rotate it a little bit and grow it up. And I think I'm going to take this one and move it over here, set it about like that. Maybe we'll put the football player here, and we'll take this one down a little bit and set it over here. Something like this. I mean, it's not terribly critical. Like you say, you can move them anytime, and or you can see I can move them anytime, any place I want. So, given that, I think I'm going to add a text box because I want to be able to tell this guy, tell people what this fellow's name is. So we'll type in Walter Gordon Blay. And I think what I'm going to do is we'll just show you what it looks like if I auto size it with just an Arial font, but I particularly like something like Edwardian. It looks really classy. So we'll give him a Edwardian. And I think to make the color be consistent, let's stick in the brown range right here rather than black. So there, now we've got that. Now, on top of that, I think the background is there, but it looks a little bland to me. So what I'm going to do is I'd go up here under the Layers palette. Remember, I told you can change the background anytime you want. So under the Layers button up there on a tab, you can go down here to Change Background. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to give it a texture. Now, you can give it one of any of the built-in textures or any of your own if you have others. For instance, you could say, hey, I want it to, what's it look like if I make it more of a, I don't know, a vintage type of a background? And you say, well, that's not really maybe consistent with this particular picture too much in my mind. So I think I'd like to go in and change it again. I'll go in here and make it a standard, but at this time I'm going to make it this little bit of a grunge look here. All right, so when it computes that, it looks pretty nice. So I'm going to take now one more step here, just move these around again to wherever I want them. And I'm going to put some text in. This is descriptive text, so I need to have a text box. And I'm going to set this text box down here someplace. Now the text would go into this area of the text entry right there. And I don't have time to sit and type all this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab a little bit of text from another spot I have here. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. All right. So now I can tell it, hey, I want it to auto size. I don't think I want it to be Edwardian anymore because it's going to be something we want to read. So let's put it back to Arial, and we'll left justify it instead of center. Now it doesn't fill up the whole area, so I'm just going to click it until it does. And there, that might be a little bit too much. Let's take it back down to here. All right, so there, now we've got that. And you can see that in just a few minutes here, It didn't take very long at all. They made a pretty nice looking layout. Now this is just the basics of it. There's much more you can do with layouts in ScrapPage, and I'll go into that in other videos, but I just wanted to make this one real quick just to show you how objects are manipulated and how you can get a nice looking layout in pretty quick time. Okay, so until the next time, this is Dave. Bye-bye.